Hello and welcome. Today I bring you guys a video on how to properly position yourself in race starts for overtakes, defending and reading other drivers. The best way to read other drivers is to look at their surroundings and try to anticipate and calculate their every move. Here you guys can see that I was not fully aware of the cars ahead, but only aware of the car next to me, and did not judge my braking point better. By minding my surroundings, I had a better judgment of my braking and positioning into the next turn. Not being aware of the cars ahead, I almost took out 3 different cars in turn 1. As you guys can see, I had a really bad start in turn 1, but by being aware into turn 2, I was able to position myself a lot better and making overtake on this Red Bull without crashing into the back or side of him. For the next sample video, I will be showing you guys that no matter the start, it is possible to make positions at turn 1, showing you guys that even having the worst of starts can be helpful. The trick to this can be found in the first video sample. It is anticipating and calculating the moves of every other driver. In this video, you guys can see that I had a reasonable start, did a pretty good start, but by reading the cars ahead, I was able to anticipate trouble. Here you guys can see that by reading the movement of my proximity arrow, I avoided contact with the dive bomber, and by not looking very far ahead, I did not see that the Sauber was crashing to the Force India. By using my proximity arrows, I was able to anticipate a dive bomber and was not collected into turn 1 and destroyed at that moment. But by not seeing the Force India ahead, I was not able to anticipate the movement of the Sauber and ended up crashing into the side of him. For the next sample video, I will be showing you guys how to defend into turn 1. For this defending move, you need to follow 2 simple rules. 1 is to have a good start, and 2 is to anticipate any dive bombers, because a lot of people like to make moves in turn 1 in the first lap, and by virtue of dive bomb, a lot of crashes happen, guys. In this video, you guys will see that I had a reasonable start. The guy in second place did not have that good of a start, but the guy in third had a better start than me. By being aware of my proximity arrows, I noticed that he went for a move on the inside, so I went wider and was able to get the inside line for turn 2. As you guys can see, he is catching up very fast, very late on the brakes, goes for the inside, but we don't want to get crashed here. We want to go the wide line, we want to carry more speed, and we want to also be on the inside line for the next corner and avoid any trouble.
To the record, baby, and give me this right now.
In the next sample video, we will be talking about how to position yourself better for overtaking. The only rule is to always mind the surrounding. Here you guys can see that I was able to notice that the guy in front had a very bad exit, and into the next corner I noticed that he had very low grip. Due to the fact that he was lacking grip, I tried to emphasize a lot on my exit on the next corner, but I didn't. But I was able to use DRS and more power in order to overtake him into the next corner. As you guys can see here, he's defending for his position, very nice and clean. We are able to stay right on his back and use the slipstream in order to catch up with him and stick close. What you guys need to do is to put pressure on the guy ahead. Sometimes they make mistakes like this one and they don't have the opportunity to defend their exit really well. Here I was able to have a good run, and since I had DRS, I was able to gain that extra speed in order to make the position mine. A thing that you guys need to work on is defending your newly taken position. Some guys will go back to taking their position, but if you're able to defend the position, they will not be able to take it away from you. Now, how to read other drivers. Reading other drivers can be really difficult. You have to calculate their movement by what you're seeing ahead of you. Sometimes it is really difficult to calculate what a car will do, but if you have the experience or you have done a lot of overtaking and wheel-to-wheel racing, you will understand what the car will do and how it will behave depending on what the situation requires. Here you guys see that I'm behind two cars on the straight in Baku, slipstreaming each other. The two guys in front have contact, so I have to jump on the brakes and slow down. I'm able to stick behind the guy right ahead, but as you guys can see, these two cars have very lot of contact, and I'm able to go left and brake. I could have gone right, but I was not sure of what would have happened between the two guys having so much contact. Here you guys can see that he's early on the brakes and leads to the left very little. I'm not able to anticipate that. As it happens too fast, he jumps on the brakes and starts cutting to the left. Here we have race destroyed. So what did we learn? Mind your surroundings, guys. If I was minding my surroundings a lot better, if I was more aware of what the guy would have done, I would have anticipated that move and wouldn't have crashed. In the next sample video, I will be showing you guys how to not be compromised or how to seize those compromising opportunities. Sometimes it's not you having a really good run, it's the other guy making a lot of mistakes or even a simple mistake that could ruin his race. Here you guys can see that this guy had a really bad corner here in Ascari, so I was able to jump on the brakes and avoid contact. Sometimes contact can be from anything. Sometimes it can be because of a driver lacking the grip or a driver going too slow through the corners. As you guys can see, he was lacking grip and going very slow in the corner exit, so I had to jump on the brakes and avoid all contact. That is a clean way to overtake, because if you guys do not make that contact and crash, you guys will still be on the race and you guys will have better chances of overtaking. In the next sample video, I will show you guys how to avoid the dive bombers. For this, you will need proximity arrows. You will read other drivers a lot better, because with the proximity arrows you're able to understand where the guy is and where the guy is coming from. Here we have the Williams being very late on the brakes and tries to make an overtake. Without the proximity arrows, I would have had turned into him and made us both crash. Being careful and using the most of my grip, I was able to get a very good exit. Trying to make a dash for it, I was very late on the brakes, did not have the turn in response that I needed, and this Ferrari just crashed into me and I ended up basically being crashed by everyone. As you guys can see here, I made a mistake and that Ferrari seizes the opportunity and goes on the inside. He makes the corner and sends me very wide, but trying to recover that, guys, was a really bad choice, as there's a car leaving very loudly.
Hey, yo, DJ, put a nigga back to the record, baby, and give me this right now. Yeah. Give me that. Come on. Give me that. Make some noise out there.
In the next sample video, you guys can see that I had a very good exit and so is the guy ahead. Because of my power difference to him and the slipstream, I was able to slowly close the 7/10 gap all the way into turn 1. Being a lot better on the brakes and using a better line, I was able to close the gap. Using the most of my tire grip, I was able to accelerate a lot better and position myself for a better reading and understatement of the guy ahead of me. I did not go for an overtake move here because I wanted to read what the guy ahead would do. I wanted to see what his grip levels would be and understand his movements. That way I can calculate and be more precise on my overtakes. Here I can notice that the guy ahead is very low on grip and fighting to maintain the car in the black stuff. As you guys can see, I'm using the most I can of my power and DRS in order to make a move before Ascari. But the Mercedes goes in for a dive bomb. I see the initiative on the right side, but we both go a little bit too wide due to contact. He loses out, I don't. I'm able to recover the car. As you guys can see, he goes very late and very wide at the exit. I'm able to see a window of opportunity, but the Mercedes was very unstable during that corner and both of us went wide. I was able to recover the car, but he was not.
Hey, give me this right now.
In the next sample video, I will show you guys how to defend or get your position back. Here, as you guys can see, I made a very bad mistake. I was not able to defend my position, so the guy took the initiative to go for the move. I see that my grip is not very bad compared to the other driver. I am a lot better doing that corner and was able to take the initiative on the power. By using as much power as possible, I was able to close the gap with the slipstream. At last moment, pull up to the left and get on the brakes. Usually this corner is taken in 4th gear, so in order to keep a clean overtaking move, I had to go all the way to 3rd and stay on the brakes a bit longer. Gave him the space and did not take him and myself out of the race. Sometimes making an overtake can be really difficult, but depending on your guys' expertise and the amount of times you guys have practiced, you guys are gonna be very good at overtaking. And I recommend doing a lot of career mode and using your replays button so that you can replay the overtake and always have various lines. Here, as you guys can see, I am catching up to the guy ahead. I have more grip than he does, so I'm able to stick very close in this section. He makes a mistake, goes wide, and I'm able to seize the opportunity and emphasize on my exit. Because of my better exit, I used most of my power to overtake him, but into the next corner, having the inside line, him knowing that it's gonna be really difficult to defend, decides to back out of it. As you guys can see, I'm trying to catch up to the car ahead, using as much power as I can. I see that a car comes out of the pits, so I take the initiative. I'm on the better, faster line, so I'm able to stick right behind him at the exit of turn 1. Makes a mistake and I seize the opportunity to go alongside him into the next turn and have the inside line. Here you guys can see I give him the space, I give him enough room, but he notices that he won't be able to defend that position, so he gives it to me.
You know what to do. Hey, give me this right now. Give it up. Come on. Right here.
For the next sample video, I will be showing you guys that it is difficult to overtake around the outside of other drivers that you do not trust. Sometimes taking around the outside is more than just being faster, it's about trust. As you guys can see, that Mercedes ran into me, and by running into me, he lost out massively. I gave him the space, but he did not make the corner the exact right way. I was able to get away cleanly and give myself a better gap. Now, for the next video, this will be the end of the video. The next video is going to emphasize on everything that I just talked to you guys about: defending, reading other drivers, calculating their moves, how to be cleaner, how to be faster. Now, what you guys will see in this video is all of my expertise poured into a hardcore 4 minutes of racing. What you guys will see is me approaching 3 cars that are fighting for the last podium position. I am a couple of seconds behind from the last podium position in 6th place, but having better line and better grip, I'm able to have a better exit than the guy ahead. Using the most of my power in the slipstream, I'm able to close the gap but noticing that he's very lacking on grip, I take the initiative to make the move into turn 1. Using DRS and the most of my powers, I am able to pull the gap on the straight and manage better my braking into the next corner. Use a very good line to protect my newly taken position. Here you guys can see I'm using again all of my power in order to close the gap to the cars ahead fighting. Since they're fighting, they're going to be really slow, so I'm able to slow down, read their movements, and try not to make mistakes like that one. I would have been a lot closer, but noticing that I am very much a lot better on grip and my tires have better durability also because they last longer than the guys ahead, I am able to take the initiative to stick closely behind but emphasize more on my exits in order to put some pressure in the guy ahead. Putting pressure on the guys in front of you can be the best weapon you can have, guys. Sometimes the pressure can make them have mistakes. Sometimes putting the pressure can just give them the initiative to start pushing a lot faster. Here you guys can see that they have very low internet and I'm like kinda lagging compared to them. Here you guys can see that the Ferrari uses the petrol button and just quickly catches up to the guy ahead. Using most of my power I'm able to catch up, but he's very early on the brakes and I have to evade him. Using the most of my grip, I am able to still stand close behind, but almost made a very big mistake and had to catch the car back. Since the two guys ahead are still fighting and have less grip than I do, I'm able to catch up, but I'm still having troubles. As you guys can see, I am going very slow. I am minding the surroundings, looking ahead and make sure that I don't get into any mistakes like those. They had contact and I'm able to close the gap again. Here, again, early on the brakes, mind my gap, mind my surroundings. I did lose out on this straight, but thanks to DRS and a lot of power, I was able to minimize my damage and was able to keep very close. This guy's fight is very intense, so I'm able to still catch up after one corner. Here, this Ferrari has a very good line, a lot slower due to less grip, but thanks to his line he was able to defend his position until the last moment. Here, I am using the most I can of my grip in order to do a switchback move, but the other car also has a really good exit. Using the most of my power and DRS, I'm able to close the gap, but did not get the move, guys. We finished at the exact same time. This is it for the video. If you like the content, please subscribe, use the like button. I will be bringing more content every Monday and we'll try to bring content every weekend as well, guys. Thank you for watching and have a good day.